It started like any other sunny morning in suburban America, birds chirping, lawnmowers humming, and the ever-watchful eyes of Karen from the HOA peering through her blinds. But that day, her passive-aggressive smiles hid something darker. When she offered me a cup of coffee during our friendly porch chat, I already knew what she had done. This wasn't just about a broken mailbox or grass, an inch too tall. No, this was personal, and it nearly cost me my life. I took the cup from her with steady hands, masking the churn in my stomach. The steam rose between us like a veil, but my eyes never left hers. She smiled, that tight, practiced smile she gave everyone at the HOA meetings right before she tore them apart for planting the wrong color of roses. "You've been working so hard on your lawn," she said sweetly. "Thought you deserved a little treat." I nodded, raised the cup slightly, then accidentally dropped it. It shattered on the concrete. Her face twitched not with surprise, but with something colder. Calculation. "Oh no," I said. "Clumsy me." She stared at the puddle of coffee like it was gold draining into the earth. That was the moment I knew for sure. It wasn't just me being paranoid. You see, 3 weeks earlier, my dog Max, healthy, energetic, the kind of dog that could outrun a squirrel, suddenly collapsed after eating a biscuit someone had left at our porch. He barely survived. Then there were the dead plants, the anonymous complaints to the HOA board, the tire slashes. At first, I thought it was some neighborhood kid playing pranks. But no kid uses rat poison. Karen leaned closer, her voice dropping. "You should really be more careful. Accidents happen all the time." I gave her a look, calm, controlled, because I wasn't just suspicious anymore, I had proof. And I wasn't the only one watching her. That night, I checked the hidden camera I'd planted behind the potted fern by my front door. It had captured everything: Karen's stiff body language as she placed the cup down, her glances left and right, the small glass vial she slipped back into her sweater pocket when she thought no one was looking. It wasn't just a camera angle, it was evidence. I forwarded the footage to a secure drive. I wasn't about to go to the cops just yet, not without a backup plan, not with how tight Karen was with the local HOA board, and even worse, how friendly she was with Officer Daniels, who, conveniently, lost my previous complaint reports. No, I needed a different kind of ally. So the next morning, I took a stroll down to the last house on Sycamore Lane, the one everyone avoided, the one with the private property sign and the motion lights that followed you like eyes. That's where Linda lived, former forensic chemist, retired after a very public falling out with the county lab. The rumor was she took a bribe. The truth? She knew who did, and she didn't play along. I brought her a peace offering. Organic coffee beans, blackmail photos of the HOA president in a compromising position at the community pool, and a thumb drive labeled Karen's Cup. Linda didn't smile. She never did, but her eyes lit up. "She used thallium," she muttered after an hour in her garage lab, flicking the vial under a small UV lamp. "Old school, subtle, no taste, hard to trace." This was an amateur hour. I exhaled slowly. So I'm not imagining things. Linda looked at me, serious. "You were never in danger of imagining anything. You were in danger of dying." She handed me the vial in a sealed bag. "You're gonna need more than footage if you want to bring her down. Karen's smart. She's done this before." "Before?" I echoed. Linda didn't respond right away. Instead, she walked to an old filing cabinet, rifled through yellowed folders, until she pulled one marked Unsolved, 2017. She dropped it on the table. A familiar face stared up at me from a missing persons flyer. It was Greg, the previous homeowner of my house. Karen had been the one who welcomed him to the neighborhood too. The flyer felt like it weighed 10 pounds in my hands. Greg Simmons, last seen the 14th of April, 2017, age 42, divorced, moved into my house 6 months before he vanished. No signs of forced entry, no suspects. Case quietly closed due to lack of evidence. "He filed several complaints with the HOA, Linda said, flipping through the report with practiced fingers. And guess who he had the most conflict with?" She pulled out an email printout. Subject line, "That woman on the board again." "Karen," I whispered. Linda nodded. "You're not her first target, just the first one that might live to tell about it." I sat back, heart pounding. This wasn't petty suburban warfare anymore. This was something darker, something cold, calculated, and somehow completely hidden in plain sight. "But why?" I asked. "What does she get out of this?" Linda raised an eyebrow. Control. Some people join HOAs to enforce rules. Karen created hers to write them. And people like Greg, like you, don't fall in line. I clenched my fists. So what do we do? Linda gave me a thin smile. We bait her. We don't just prove what she did, we make her try again. This time, with eyes on her. My phone buzzed. It was an HOA group text. From Karen. Neighborhood safety meeting at my place. Mandatory. 7 p.m. sharp. Coffee and cookies provided. Linda and I locked eyes. She's moving fast, I said. Linda grabbed her jacket. Then so are we. 7 p.m. sharp. I showed up a few minutes late on purpose, just enough to make an entrance. Karen opened the door with that fake plastic smile she wore at every HOA meeting. So glad you could make it, she said. All syrup and no soul. Wouldn't miss it, I said, stepping inside. The living room smelled like fresh coffee and store-bought cookies. A few neighbors sat around awkwardly, sipping drinks and trying to pretend this was normal. I scanned the room. Linda was already there disguised as a new homeowner, sitting quietly in the corner with a tote bag full of papers. Inside was her field test kit and a flash drive ready to ruin someone's life. Karen floated around the room, offering drinks like a damn Stepford wife. When she reached me, she handed me a mug with a little too much enthusiasm. For you, she said sweetly. Freshly brewed. I smiled back and grabbed a different mug from the table one she hadn't touched. Actually, I'll take this one. For the first time all night, her face twitched. Linda caught my eye. That was the cue. While Karen turned to greet someone else, Linda moved fast, collected the poison cup, ran a test right there in the bag without anyone noticing. A few minutes later, she stood up. No warning, no speech, just, sorry to interrupt, but this coffee's laced with thallium. You could have heard a pin drop. Karen froze. Then the recording started playing her voice, clear as day. One drop is all it takes. He won't feel a thing. She turned pale. And right then, the front door opened. 2 detectives walked in. Not the friendly neighborhood cop Karen had in her back pocket. These guys were from downtown and they weren't here for cookies.